Listen. Six months without rain. Wind has died down a bit, starting to drop a fair bit of rain, but by morning it'll get very windy. But it's raining. Finally. Good morning, good evening. It's raining. Something you very rarely will hear when I'm broadcasting. 6 months since we had rain, and now we're starting to get some. There are people on the streets crying with joy, running around naked, putting their hands to the sky. Well, they're not doing that, but metaphorically they're probably doing that. They're all sitting there going, "Can you hear that? What is it, Grandad?" That's rain. "What's rain, Grandad?" It's something that used to happen all the time when I was a boy. It's a big deal here when we get a bit of rain. It blew for quite a while, but windy. Now the rain's coming in. That'll be on for a good 5 or 6 hours. And then when the back end of that front comes through, all the really cold air and strong winds will come. So but we had a nice big bowl of stew tonight, didn't we, my dear? Yep. And it was very enjoyable. Made a really big pot of stew. And then my daughter had some. And then she requested a large bowl to take home to her husband. The grandson did try it, but I think he found all the onions.
No, it's too spicy.
It wasn't really spicy, it was just deep, rich, beefy.
It was spicy.
There's no spices in it.
Whatever the spice.
Worcestershire,
yeah.
whatever. Anyway,
Peppery.
at least he's trying.
Peppery.
As he gets older, he's trying a bit more. This bloody thing keeps falling down, as it does. But there'll be no cooking videos for about a week. Because we've got to bury ourselves in every night a bowl of nice hearty soup, stewy, yummy. Yeah, it is yum. Trust me.
I wasn't big fan of Hangout. She was thinking, what if people did a recipe swap, and then you've got to make that recipe, and well, if you feel like it, videoing it would be good, and uploading it. Good idea.
What if someone puts in deep roasted camel?
Oh well, you don't have to pick that recipe then, do you?
No.
No, just like
I'm
maybe,
not very good at recipes,
I
so
think Awesome said something like maybe make the first one all the same, like everybody share their meatball recipes.
right. Hello, JP. Yeah, it's a big thing here, mate. Seriously, we've got rain. Listen, I'll shut up. Hello, Awesome. I've just been instructed that you've dobbed me in for recipe cooking or something.
No, not you. Anybody.
Oh, thank God for that. I thought you meant me.
No, anybody and everybody. Isn't that awesome? Swap recipes, like example, your meatball recipes, and then say 6 or whatever people cook it, taste it, and see, because everybody would make that recipe different.
Oh, look, I mean, that's the secret of cooking, is that I could make a lasagna and take it over to Awesome's, and Johnny could make a lasagna, and then Awesome could make a lasagna. Guaranteed, they're not the same.
But I don't know. Maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong, Awesome. Like, did you mean you, for instance, hand out to 6 people your meatball recipe, and us 6 people make it?
Drop some recipes and we'll all try each other's
Yeah.
recipes. You know, the problem with that with me, Awesome, is that I'd look at the recipe and go, all right, yeah, okay.
Yeah, but you can't.
And then I'd be thinking, nah, I need some garlic.
That's not how it goes.
I need some capsicum.
No,
Just
no,
because
no.
I'm not a spoonful or half a cupful. I've been trying lately when I'm squeezing stuff in, saying about a quarter a cup of that. But it's just for me, it's like, what does the meal need to balance, and you know, where's the extra layer of flavour? There are some really good recipes that I have looked at and thought, well, I'll take that out and I'll add that, and then I won't use that pasta. I'll
But you
use this one.
can't. I know what Awesome's saying.
Yeah.
Like I said, you give your meatball recipe to 6 people and we make it. Follow your recipe exactly. And I bet you everybody's would still taste different. I think it's a great idea.
Morning, Sids. Yeah, you'll still get 6 different meals if 6 different people did it.
Even following the same recipe.
Even following the
That's
same
right.
recipe.
Yeah, so I'm in.
You're going to do it. I'll just do the filming. The wife's going to follow the
I
recipe.
want cornbread.
No, cornbread's not that hard.
Again, everybody's...
So I'll get the first pick, obviously, Awesome. I'll do my recipe for kangaroo curry,
Oh,
and then everyone else has to make kangaroo. Some of you are going to have to visit a zoo early in the morning.
if JP can do it.
Mr. Sids, hello. Oh, you're on there now, are you? Oh, righto. Yeah, but it's a big deal. It's raining. It's, just haven't heard that noise since I was in the bunker over east. Doesn't rain much here, but we've got 3 or 4 days of it. I'm going to come out here now because the wind's died down. It's hard enough to get the people I know on here to cook. There's a few. Sid cooks, a few others cook, but not many. I don't think, but I won't be participating for about a week, Awesome, because did you see the size of the stew I made today? Even with my son taking a big bowl and my daughter having a big feed. And we had 2 feeds, there's still heaps left. So, but I don't mind having stew 3 or 4 nights in a row. That's fine by me. We're out of crusty bread though.
Yeah.
I did, that's what inspired me. What's he talking about? Oh, the stew. Nah. Just chuck her in there. That's the secret. Actually, I did a bit of video about 10 seconds long, which didn't get into the cooking stew video because it was just me adding a little bit of garlic and just a 1/4 teaspoon of chilli ground up. But you know, sometimes when you think you've pressed the button, I didn't, obviously. But I'll just look at it and taste it and think, So Sid's has got a new hairstyle. There'll be a video coming up tonight then. Haven't heard any news on Mr. Tucker, but hopefully all is well. Yeah, I imagine that Sid's has not only had the hair changed, there's a slinky black sexy dress, mini skirt involved, bit of red lippy.
So you want a video like that because she watched your shower video.
Oh, right. Okay. That's good when you get something and you're happy with it. And they always say that there's only about 4 weeks between a good and bad haircut. Bowl on the head. Oh, it reminds me when I cut Carl's hair. I'd had a bit too much to drink one night, and my son said, "Oh, geez, I need a haircut."
Oh my God.
I said, "Not a problem, son, come here."
Do not get Seeds to cut your hair.
Oh, no, I can cut hair, but I mean, I was like, yeah, let it come up there. Oh, the reaction when he went into the bathroom, looks in the mirror. "What have you done?" Oh, dear.
That was really
It's
embarrassing.
funny. No, it wasn't that bad. He just reacted badly.
Oh, VMAC, was it raining and you still went for a walk? Put a raincoat on.
Pretty sure JP can cook. For any challenges out there, I'm sure he can jump on board and do a video. We know he can eat. Having that spicy chicken salad, which he said wasn't very spicy. But the first thing I noticed, JP, there didn't seem to be any butter on that crusty bread. A cranky VMAC. Is there such a thing? Just listen to that. I mean, listen. Rain. Yeah. Say hello to the boss.
Oh, that's blurry. I'm gonna go make a coffee.
I can go and put the kettle up.
No?
No? I know how to turn it on.
Because I gotta go toilet. Do they have to say that so the whole room hears it?
I've got meditation videos, Sid. I've got quite a lot of them. And the ones I like the best, I've got a couple of friends I've used their material, and also I go to a site and create my own background. And the ones I love the best are this rain on a tin roof. It's just something about water and the rain. Normally I'd turn one of mine on, and about 4 minutes later I'm whoop, gone. Yeah, I mean, I've made a few meditation videos lately, but I should get back into it. They're my biggest seller. Mac and cheese, cornbread stew, cake. Sounds good. But I mean, there are no rules for things like a soup or a stew. It's usually what's on hand, or if I spot a bargain, I'll think of it. I'll walk through the supermarket, think, what have I got at home? I got that, I got that. Oh, there's a bargain. I'll grab that. Oh, right, I've changed my mind now. It'll be what I got at home, and I'll make this. I'm sure most of you and Sid's
Put them on that.
would do that all the time.
They should be able to see the chook sweat.
Are you going to put it in there, dear?
Well, they gotta, you know, just because they can hear the sound.
Hear it?
Just because they can hear the sound, do they really believe it's raining here?
Control freak.
You know,
Let's
come
be
on.
honest. All right, dear. I'll put it on the chook. Okay. You can hear her walking away, going. Put it on the chook now. Yes, master. There we go. Just keep the one who needs to be obeyed. She wants you to look at a sweaty chicken. Oop, bit low. Just to prove that this is not the garden hose on. Oh, bloody thing. There you go. One wet chicken. Well, it is. Cockerel. It's a cockerel. I'm just saying. Hope we get about 3 inches out of this if we're lucky. Wait for someone to take that in somewhere, you know. Hope we get 3 inches. Yeah, it's all right. I know what your mob are like. I love dumplings. With dumplings, I'm sure you do the same. So if you've got a fresh herb garden, you think, bit of this, bit of that, and they're just so easy to make. As long as you don't make them, Sids, with self-raising flour, which I did about 30 years ago, thinking, why's my stew got like a bear head on it? If you're lucky and you've got a little bit of suet to put in your dumplings, that makes a big difference too. Pot sticker recipe. Not sure what that is. Something to do with a pot roast or something. If I'm really lazy making a stew, I had 3 big slabs of casserole steak there. I'll just put a bit of onions, raw onions in the pot, bit of olive oil underneath, put the steak in, just make it all flat, put in some stock, chuck in some veggies, and just leave it on low for about 4 or 5 hours. Just forget about it. With the big cast iron pot, it's absolutely beautiful. Yeah, all you do is when you get down the bottom, you get a fork down the bottom and break the meat up.
Okay, what's an Aussie dish? Like awesome,
Yeah, we don't.
country.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm sure if JP was here, he'd say the same thing. An Aussie dish
I'm trying to think
is what you call a pot pie.
Yeah, the meat pie is an Australian classic, yeah. And
Mayfield.
you've got
Hello, Lynn.
you've got that on your channel, how you make pies.
I'm not big on salmon because it's oily. We told the story ages ago. We used to live next in Tasmania to the manager of the big salmon farms, and he'd just keep bringing salmon over. I keep thinking, we don't like it. So I said to him, mate, no, we're good. We're good. We don't need any more.
Yeah,
Bring in like 15 kilo salmon. Here you go, mate. Enjoy that.
meat pie. That's about it.
Yeah, there's some greens or veggies that are really good. Yeah, I make meat pies all too. I tell you what would be a good thing for people to make, and it's a version of whatever you want to call it, but like a Cornish pasty. Now my version of Cornish pasty has a little bit of ground beef in it. Mincemeat, we call it.
You've got that on your channel as well, I think, your pasty recipe.
Could have sweet potato, carrot, whatever veg you like, and you know, it's probably about half and half meat, half veg, and a few little bits of spices and herbs go in there.
My potato salad's easy. I'll make you some when we come over.
Yeah.
But that's on, the potato salad is on Seed's channel or mine too.
Yours, I think. Not sure.
But I do want...
Yes, she does. She makes German potato salad.
I want to do cornbread. So let's start this awesome.
Cornbread's not really the hardest thing in the world to make.
Exactly. Keep it easy for the first week. If you do this weekly or every fortnight or something awesome, whatever you work out. Whatever you think's best. I don't think
Should get Mel involved. She's a good cook.
Oh yeah.
And husband. Yep, cornbread salad.
But even if people don't put themselves on cam, that's fine. Even if they did just a written video and uploaded, or I don't know, somehow just to let people know how they went.
Yeah, there's not really, because we're so multicultural in Australia, there's not really Australian dishes outside a meat pie. I'm trying to think. Maybe the second top one would be spaghetti bolognese. That's pretty common in a lot of Australian homes.
Yeah, but the meat pie is a classic. But so many people make their cornbread differently. So awesome. Are you going to give out the recipe? I don't care whose recipe I use. I just want to try and make a proper cornbread and try it.
For me, the easiest way to get people to do a version of a recipe is for someone to go through all the steps and make a video.
Or even if they write it.
That way people, you know, because someone will surely say 2 ounces of this, a quarter a cup of that.
But not everybody...
And I'll be going, yeah, righto.
Not everybody uploads videos.
No, I know, but somebody might do one.
I'll leave that to Awesome to work out the hard part. I just need a cornbread recipe and I'll do it.
In about 3 or 4 days, I'll do a shrimp dish, which is good size, not big, but good size prawn with a batter coated in honey and sesame. Yum. Yeah, I like Caesar salad. I've got to have cos lettuce in my Caesar salad.
Yes, Lynn, I do that. If I crave something, I'll eat it for days. Yeah. And then it'll be months.
Like chocolate.
And then it'll be months before I have it again. That's like my pancakes that I make. I don't make them often. A, because they're time consuming. And then we guts ourselves on it, the whole family, and then I don't make them again for 6 months to... So, you know.
Yeah, it's like, you know, you'll often hear on TV, you know, this is a classical dish. I'm thinking, maybe, but won't be my version. You know, someone says, put in a handful of coriander. I'll be thinking, nah, that's not happening. Coriander I can tolerate in very small portions. And once in Thailand, I got a salad, and I thought it was parsley, so I'm chomping it all down. I'm thinking, whoa, it's coriander. Ooh. Though I like coriander in a Thai green curry, you know, dishes that Thai make a lot of curry with coriander, but not bucket loads of it. I tell you, one of the and I'll use the word, classics that nearly everybody can make, and it's only got about 4 ingredients, is a good rice pudding. Everyone will make a different one, but I like my rice pudding eventually finished off in the oven, so it gets that little bit of skin on top. Those who know what I'm talking about, nudge, nudge, wink, wink, say no more. I love rice. My grandmother and mother used to make rice puddings, suet, steamed puddings, you know, with jam in the middle. Ooh, those were the days, my friend. Na, 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 na. Yes, no one really makes puddings anymore. All right, just talk us through your recipe of cornbread and your method. Won't take you long. You can text what you do and how you cook it. Pink rice pudding, Lynn. You sure that wasn't Soylent Green? I'm just saying. You're going to pout. Be very careful pounting with those fangs, VMAC. Could do yourself an injury. There's not much food I don't like, I'll be honest. I will try anything, even the stuff that I think, I'm not going to like this. It's, again, VMAC, a lot of people don't like star anise. Some people don't like nutmeg. It's not that I don't like coriander, I just don't like bucket loads of it in a dish. I think the word would be overpowering sometimes. Basically cilantro, yeah. We call it the proper name, but I think Americans call it cilantro. I'm just, you know, that's how it is. The rest of the world calls it something else. G'day, Bucky. But Sid's made this dish up, which was going to be a loaded potato soup the other night, and I just threw her a hint that prior to the potatoes going in and the roux made a bit thicker, what a great type of bechamel to go through a lasagna. I think she's going to do it, because it's just, you know, I think basically I'll give the recipe out, Sid, shall I? 9 buckets of cheese, followed by extra cheese if you think it requires it, and then when you've finished and you're about to put it in the oven, just top it with a little bit more cheese. Mind you, there's 3 ingredients you just cannot say is not going to taste good. These 3 ingredients are the triage of pleasure: onion, bacon, and cheese. I'll make a little dish from these stone bread. You know the rolls that are quite firm and they're nice, they're about 8 inches long. What I do is I cut them open, I put a little bit of mayo on either side, I cut onion really fine, I put layers of onion through there, followed by cooked bacon, put as much as you can in, and then put cheese, and then I wrap it in foil, aluminum for you Americans, and put it in the oven at about 180 for about 15 minutes, until it's just a little bit crispy on top. Take it out and it's crunchy, the onions and the bacon and the cheese. It just works. I love that sound. Hello, chick. Reminds me of that movie with Jodie Foster, chick's name. Trying to win.
What?
Trying to win. Chickadoo, chickadee. Well, yeah, again, coriander can be seed, ground seed, or the leaf itself. Different corianders required for different dishes.
Here's the seed, the other coriander.
Trying to win.
I don't know-
Chickadee.
What are you talking about?
Jodie Foster in that movie. I have been guilty also of throwing in like 6 rashers of streaky bacon. Streaky bacon's the only thing to use. And it goes real crispy. And I'll even let it go cold. And I'll just get some bread and butter and fit as much bacon I can between 2 slices.
So he's also
A bacon butty.
he's also saying how she's doing does cornbread. Is that what she's
Oh,
talking
was you?
about?
Sorry, I thought she was just talking.
Ah. Also, mate, you need to send me a message with how you do it in your recipe so I can do it also.
See, I know how to say that name. A lot of people get it wrong. They would say Chichester.
She is writing it out.
Okay. You're going to have to save it because I thought
Oh.
she was just yakking.
Oh, I was actually can hear because of the rain. Tell us if she needs to send it to me in a message.
Have you got an iPhone too, Bucky? My spelling's not too bad. My grammar could be better. But I'll be spelling away and thinking,
Yeah.
then it comes out like, blah, 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 blah. I think, I didn't say that.
Thanks, awesome.
My phone just says, well, I'm going to put that in anyway.
Don't you love spell check, autocorrect, man? Yep, send it to me exactly how you do it. I don't know about the
What?
skillet. We've got a skillet that can go in the oven.
Just the cast iron of mine will go in the oven. It's got a timber handle. That'll take 300
It
degrees.
won't fit in that oven. We've only got that little oven.
We do primitive cooking here.
Yeah.
We still have a little gas burner
Yeah, I might
and
have to.
a little electric oven, which has also got a grill on top. So
Because our big gas oven isn't working.
it could work, but it's just a pain in the ass.
No, the oven part doesn't work.
Oh well, it doesn't matter. We're getting a new oven in the new kitchen.
So I'll have to work around. When you send me your recipe, awesome, I will work it out.
It's like Australia's old type of bread. It's called a damper. Really, it's just flour, salt and water. The basic damper. You can fancy it up with different things in there, but that's really what it is.
Oh, actually, that's an Australian national. I used to always
a
make
damper. So if you had a stew, like I made tonight, on the fire you'd have another cast iron pot. You'd oil the bottom like you normally do. Whack in your dough, I suppose. It's a bit looser than a dough though. And then you just forget about it and throw coals on top of the cast. When your stew's ready, your damper's ready. Yeah, that's what I got, chick. Toaster oven. Soda bread's good. Best part about soda bread, Buggy, is how crunchy the outside is. Sometimes you end up like Swiss cheese on the inside, lots of holes, makes it hard when you're buttering. But it is nice. Chick says, Debbie, my dear, how are you?
Soda bread's heavier than
No, not really.
our bread.
No, not really. Soda bread can be very light.
No, I'm talking about damper.
Oh, damper's
the
very
damper,
heavy.
yeah.
Damper's well, it's the Australian version of cornbread. Sid says, "I'm good, chick. I've missed you." This sounds like some 17th century conversation about sense and sensibility. Yep, Irish soda bread. I just hope Darcy doesn't find out, Sids. I'm just saying.
So you know chicks would see, she's missed her.
Every time I watch Lord of the Rings. Well, I've been up on the big screen. I don't want to tell you when and why, but I've been there.
Yep, Gandalf.
Born. Well, I don't know, Sids. It's just the way I'm drawn. A pescatorian. Lawn of the Fried Wings. No, they filmed it in New Zealand, chick. It is a beautiful country in New Zealand if you get a chance to go. Oh, down, down, down in a burning ring of fire. And a burn, burn, burn. In that ring of fire.
Oh, I love my bread, VMAC.
If we had any loaf of bread, normally it's wholemeal, but I would probably eat 3 slices, and there's normally 22, roughly, and the missus would eat the rest.
Yep.
Where I have like 1 piece, she'll have 3. Oh, you got to go to New Zealand.
They don't really say New Zealand's down under, they only say down under for Australia, even though it's down under.
It's actually the
can't-
colloquial term for New Zealand is the land of the long white cloud.
I thought you said that about England.
No, that's the land of the long grey fucker.
Oh.
Mind you, we didn't see any rain in England either. Quite extraordinary. We should get paid by governments around the world to stop rain. Do you eat long pig seeds? Well, I eat pig in many forms. Whether they're long or short, I don't particularly care. I've shot wild pig. It tastes good. I think it's obviously a sexual innuendo that Bucky was referring to. You see how I avoided that issue? Hello, we got the battery going in now.
Yeah, well, I'm getting it before it goes flat on you.
The long pig. You want to see my Piggly Wiggly?
What's long pig?
That's obviously an innuendo for sexual reference. Put Bucky down for scrutiny. Put him in timeout.
Okay. Oh well.
Yeah, but I mean, all these things, Chick, are a bit of a misnomer. Australia had a massacre at Port Arthur, which is in Tasmania. And the guy killed 30 odd people. It's terrible. But now, 20 years later, we have more guns in Australia than we did then. Give an example. New South Wales has about 4.5 million people, 5 million people, say, and they have 8 million guns. So when people think Australians don't have weapons, they're wrong.
No, we have our nutters in Australia as well.
Oh, yeah. We had a
I
mad...
think Awesome's gone to send me the recipe. I'll just tap on the screen.
But there's a big difference, though, isn't there, Bucky? I mean, other than you referencing it now, we just don't talk about it. It's not a big deal. It's a tool to Australians.
Well, that's not good, chick.
Well, in the US, on average, there's a shooting, mass shooting, sadly, every week on average.
Oh, but we haven't heard anything about the shooting we had. What happened?
Oh, we had a bikie get out of jail in Darwin, in the Northern Territory. And yesterday, he shot 4 people. But that's a criminal act, do you know what I mean?
So he shot them. Why? Did they say why?
No, that'll all come out, but
They
bikie-related shootings are common all around the world. I think he was part of the Comancheros. Bikies are a strange mob. I mean, they had 3 or 4 in jail when I was there. Absolute gentlemen. No complaints, no arguments, not in any fights. Big buggers. But you go outside and they clash with some other group, different story. Well, it's still the case now. I think Chicago is the second city in the world that has the most deaths by guns. It's staggering. You're more likely to get killed in Chicago than you are during the peak of the Iraqi war. It sounds incredible. I know.
Well, since you're going to be busy, she has 20 new colour books.
Oh my God.
I haven't done it for a while because of packing up, looking after Mum, going away.
It's going to do an Amazon Etsy haul.
I have to get all that stuff again.
Took me a minute to type.
Okay, so you sent me a message, have you? Awesome.
Sids is going to have a giveaway. I like Porsches. Mind you, I don't want you to send it to Australia. That would be ridiculous, Sids. But you could put it on a transporter up for Tucker. I think a silver one he liked.
I thought it was red.
No, I think Tucker liked a silver Porsche. Oh, a colouring book, not a Porsche. I didn't get a chance to go to the Porsche factory when I was in Stuttgart. We just did so much. We were not that far from the Mercedes factory, but it was about a half-hour drive to get out to the Porsche. I was actually going to buy a set of Porsche car keys and send them to Tucker. And just explain that we've got to start somewhere. Radishes, tomato, you can eat radishes within 20 days, chick. They're amazing. I always let my grandkids plant radishes. Normally, I use the Easter egg variety where there's 4 or 5 different colours. But within 20 days, well here, takes only 20 days from seed to pulling it out and eating it. Very fast. Actually, the thing about a lot of vegetable plants, if you started with nothing, within the first 6 weeks, if you've planted a variety of seeds, the first 6 weeks you can have a salad. Within the next 6 weeks you can have a meal. 12 weeks is a very long time in the garden. Well, in Awesome's case, 12 hours is a very long time in the garden.
Thanks, Awesome. I shall read that, do my shopping list, get the stuff and make it in the next couple of days.
Just imagine these seedlings in the garden centre talking to each other. Oh no, look who's coming. What? No, look the other way. Look the other way.
Poor Awesome in the garden.
I love summer in the garden. I'll cut a nice big beefsteak or brandy wine. Couldn't help myself, Awesome. Big brandy wine, tomato, pull a couple of leaves off of basil. It's just a bit of salt. That's about the only thing I really have salt on is tomatoes, to be honest.
VMAC, we love radishes. Just like you said, the plain ones, yep, yum.
Yeah, daikons take a lot longer than the other radishes. But tell you what, radishes, it's a great sprout as well. You usually can buy radish seeds quite cheaply. And they make an excellent sprout. Within about 6 days, you have masses. Brandywine. That's my favourite, actually.
I love you more, awesome. Love, love, love.
The Brandywine I grow, it will grow about £2. Okay, they're big buggers. There's normally only 8 to 10 on my bushes, but I cut them back to actually make these big tomatoes. But when I get my big knife in the garden, I can cut a 1/4 inch slice down the middle of Brandywine, and it's meaty. All right, there's very few seeds in a Brandywine tomato. Cherokee, black crim's good, black cherry. Yum.
That looks nice.
Lypocursicon esculentum. Let's get it right.
Are you casting spells?
No, that's what a tomato
Oh.
is, Latin name. Lycopersicon esculentum. Sounds like I'm just,
Casting
you
a
shall
spell.
not pass.
You're casting a spell.
Who's casting a spell?
You are.
No, it's a tomato. That's the Latin name for tomatoes.
So if people don't know the Latin names for fruit and vegetables, you speak like that, you think you were
Well,
casting a spell.
I'm sure they would. What about Asa Segundo? Sounds like a Formula One driver, Bucky, doesn't it? But it's like if I said the word in Latin for this group of vegetables, allium, A-L-L-I-U-M. What am I talking about? Tonight's quiz, Latin names for fruit and vegetables. What is the family of allium? Well, you're in there, Bucky, because that's part of it.
No, Sid, that's not a...
It's actually got a slightly different Latin name, but
Sid says that a wooden cock.
it's
no, it's
onion family, which some of the garlic family, because there are about 80 different varieties of garlic.
It's a ceramic chook, Sid. It's a ceramic chook planter.
Allium, that's right.
I'm actually waiting for
I like
awesome.
I like the wild garlic, actually. That's really good. And all the allium family, from the bottom of the root to the top of the tip of the plant, is edible. Completely edible.
Big Mac. Here's a warlock. Get the straws and matches out.
But it sounds really flash when you say the Latin tomato name. It does sound like a spell.
It does.
Lypocursicon esculentum.
So I said you could make a video.
The gallium, yep, with the huge purple flowers on heads. Actually, the one I don't like, Bucky, because I think it's not really worth growing it, is the elephant garlic. Do you know what I mean? They grow well, and they're big. It's not really a garlic, in my eyes. But just out this way, that way a bit, and the side door, when I build a limestone planter, I'll have my kitchen garden, which will be the following. It'll be Italian parsley, it'll be chives, it'll be thyme, rosemary, you name it. Probably about 10 types of herbs that I can just go out there with a bowl and...
Awesome, it's all right. I'm with you. I do bonsai carrots. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, that'd be about right keeping. Did you like my little comment about your music festival keeping? I'm looking around thinking, there's only one guy singing. What's going on here? I said to keeping, it's like going to a Woodstock festival without the alcohol, crowd, or topless women.
On where? Where?
He's got a video. I didn't know he even did videos.
Yeah, he did, but I haven't seen
No,
that
but
one.
there's only got 3 on there that I've seen.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one. I'll have to have a look.
Carrots, the Carota family actually comes from wild carrots, which are, in fact, in my country, a toxic weed, but the Carota. That's the Latin name for them. But yeah, they actually came and they're just bland, whitish, original stock. Crossbreeding over thousands of years, of course. Cross-pollination.
Yes.
I don't mind plants that have been created naturally. And there's always, I'll give you a great example. You can grow pumpkins together, but you're likely to have the seeds saved and grow something the next year, and it won't even look like either of the plants because a hybrid has been created. But that's a natural pollination. If you ever grow pumpkins, or whatever you guys call bloody pumpkins over there, anyway, if you grow them, just grow one type of pumpkin in a small backyard, not 2 or 3. The ones you can get away with are your button acorn squash, that's what they call it. If you've got green, yellow, white squash, they pretty much behave okay. But if you put 3 or 4 different squash, you know, the bigger squash in your garden, you won't, not going to be able to save the seeds because it'll end up with this mongrel, which sometimes is interesting. Some mongrels turn out to be prize pieces. It's a bit like the Brandywine tomato. I think it was 1882 along the Brandywine River. I'm not sure which state, I think Kentucky, where it was first grown, and that was a mongrel. That was a cross-pollination of a beef-type steak tomato and something else, and hence the Brandywine. You get pink Brandywine, you get what they call blush Brandywine, which is like an orangey thing. You get a green Brandywine. You get all sorts of, because now over the years people cross-pollinate. I do not like hybrid that have been man-made. I don't do any of those in my business. I don't do anything in my business at the moment. It's on hiatus, but only organic or naturally pollinated is the only things that I will use. Yeah, so I hadn't seen any of your videos until you said, have you seen my videos? I'm thinking, you don't do videos.
Yeah.
So I went and had a look.
Yeah, except I haven't seen the last one.
Yep, heritage, vintage, heirloom. Actually, an heirloom you can create yourself from Connecticut. Okay. You can create heirlooms in Australia. You're given license to have your own heirloom that you can name if after 7 years you've grown it. In other words, you've saved the seed, replanted it, saved the seed, replanted it. You can officially sell that as your brand of, say, tomato, is a good example. But I do that anyway in my garden. Even though I, at any given time in my business, have literally billions of seeds, I still save my own seeds. And it's just, I just like doing it. I just like the idea, and I get the best tomato, and I get the best, you know, cucumber, etc., etc. And I only save the seeds from those. Usually they sacrifice themselves, like the tomato, because I'm getting all the seeds out of it. Say it's a Brandywine, for an example. I'll only get 6 or 8 seeds out of a Brandywine, and I'll get the biggest ones, and I'll save them. And that's what gets grown in my garden next year. That's ridiculous. It's everyone's fundamental right to grow, catch water, raise animals, or should be. But we used to eat a lot of rabbit when I was a kid, and there was deals done in neighbourhoods where someone would have a big, you know, 3-foot high ring of a rainwater tank, and what we would do is everyone would get the scraps from their home and they put them in a big bucket there, and the guy or the lady, whoever had the big cut-out rainwater tank with the rabbits in there, would feed them. And the deal was you get probably a couple of rabbits every month. You're bartering. You're giving like leftover or some off-cuttings from your garden, and that would get fed to the rabbits. And the deal was you go in there and he would kill them. I mean, to kill and clean a rabbit, you can do it in 30 seconds. You really can. And he was obviously very good at it. I used to pick up the carcass. He used to have butcher's paper, and he would cut them down the middle, which was good, because then you can cut them into portions if you want to. And rabbit stew's fine. I mean, it was just normal when I was a kid to have rabbit. The thing about some plants, as you know, Chick, is that they take over. It's like I always warn people, sweet potato is fantastic, but don't plant it in an open garden. You'll have tubers coming up for a decade. It's like mint, the herb mint. Don't put that in an open garden. Put it in a pot. I mean, how much mint do you need? Even if you have mint tea, you don't need that much. Listen, look, some of the most beautiful plants I've seen as far as flowers go, are wildflowers in Australia. America's got a myriad of wildflowers as well.
Yeah, beautiful.
It's our desert country because this rain is going inland to the desert, which probably hasn't had rain for about 3 years. Within 2 weeks, it'll be a bed of colour, and within 4 to 5 weeks, it will be just unbelievable. All those seeds just sit there until they get the right moisture count and fire up. Yeah, it's the thing about mint. You just got to put it in a pot. Same with sweet potatoes. Have a big bin of some sort. You know, a pallet is a great idea. You line the bottom with a pallet. You build up the walls to about, a foot and a half. Put your soil in there. Put your sweet potatoes in there. You'll get a good pound-wise. What would you get? You get 40 pound of sweet potato out of a big pallet. I suppose you call it pallet planter. There's a lot of plants that you can eat. I never talk about it because I don't want people eating something that they think what I said. Do you know what I mean? You're better off buying a book on flowers and plants that you can eat. There are incredible amounts of them. But I don't talk about it because some people will say, oh, did you say, okay, no. They say, oh, because I ate it and got sick. I'm going, well, that's why I don't tell you. So there's a great book I got about 25 years ago called Plants That Can Heal and Plants That Can Harm. That was a great book. Some of the things that you think about but don't think about. Like I didn't know until I was about 30 that you could eat the tops of beetroot. Because I had so many beetroot, I never bothered saving the tops. But you can pick and choose little bits and pieces out of your garden to make a salad up, and it looks like you haven't touched your garden. The outer leaves are some lettuce, different types. You grab a bit of parsley, you grab a little bit of leaf off this and a leaf off that. Before you know it, along with a few flowers like nasturtiums. I don't know if you guys, see I wasn't going to say anything, but you can eat nasturtiums. The leaves you can, I wouldn't eat the seed.
What's chocolate mint?
There's so many different types of mint.
Does it taste like chocolate?
I think the one I like the best is Thai mint. Still a mint. It's very mild. Beet leaves are yum. Nasties are tasty. He's talking about nasturtiums. They are. But don't eat the seeds. But yeah, I don't talk about a lot of the plants and flowers that you can get in the wild that you can eat as well. They're my country's flowers in the wild, and you probably wouldn't have them. Because some people will think you've said something and it's not what you meant.
Oh, you've got to be careful when you do remedies. It's called remedies with flowers and stuff. It's not just taking a flower and eating it.
Trying to help my apple trees. What's wrong with the apple trees? Dark purple green leaves.
Oh,
Yep.
I have to check that out.
Yeah, Thai mint's really good. It's one of those. In fact, one of the big things, I'm sure it's happened in the US as it's happened here in Australia. The infusion teas that people buy now. I don't know, in the shelf there must be 30 different varieties. But there's a lot more things you can make tea out of. And basically a lot of them don't involve tea. It's mainly herbs.
Yeah, your buck flowers and that. You've got to be careful how you do up remedies.
I told them about the guys that came round and got the leaves off the avocado tree.
Yeah.
And what they do is they boil them down and they get a tea out of the avocado leaves, and it helps eases the pain during childbirth.
Oh, not just that. It's also
Diuretic.
morning
Helps.
sickness and everything. So
Yeah.
but again, you've got to get the ratio right. If you don't know what you're doing,
Yep. It's like
and you've got to pick the right leaves.
Yep. Oh, they got bags of it, didn't they?
Yeah.
But in Australia, we've probably got about 30 varieties of seaweed you can eat. There are some that you shouldn't eat. Some have too much iodine and other chemicals in them, but the grassy weeds that you see when you go out in a reef, most of them are edible. There's so much to eat on the planet. Do you know what I mean?
You have 50 rows of Sharon. Is that a flower chick? Is that an apple chick, is it?
Roses will go in a cottage country where I live, chick. I don't know, Sharon.
I don't, yeah, what is that?
Could be a different name than I know. I'm not big on flowers, by the way.
No, she's talking.
Mainly because, you know, I prefer to eat vegetables.
I think she's talking about, I don't know, I'm confused. Is it an apple tree?
Don't know. I remember my grandfather used to grow big brambles, big
Oh, it's a
green
bush. Ah,
apples, and I swear to you, they look like a child's head. They were so big, and they're the ones they made brambly apple pie with.
that's what they sell a lot of in Indonesia. That big size
The big
apple.
one, yeah.
Yeah.
But we're very lucky, other than the fact we only get rain every 6 months here, that in my climate we can grow just about anything from bananas to tropical fruits. But the wife's put in an order of a lot of blueberry trees. Not Rose of Sharon, but Rosa rugosa. Okay.
Oh, I've got you now, chick. I see. Oh, yeah, okay.
One thing
I'll have to look that up. I know
most
what that
fruit
looks like.
trees need that 8 hours to 7 hours of sunlight a day. If you've got a backyard where they're only getting 4 or 5, they'll try and survive. They generally won't produce fruit, and they'll just be all leaves because they're not getting enough
My favourite,
photos. Sorry?
my favourite apple is Golden Delicious.
Yep, Golden Delicious night. I like pears myself. There's lots of things. The best way to find out what sort of fruit trees or nut trees you're going to grow is to work out what you already eat. If you like certain apples and you like certain nuts, grow them. Don't just pick up an apple tree because it's on a bargain. It's $5, and then you eat it and you think, oh, I don't like it. Took you 10 years to grow a big crop, and you go, I don't like it. Oh, you're lucky, mate. 100-year-old apple trees. Man, apple trees are funny though, chick, aren't they? You get that odd season where nothing happens. It's the tree apparently that decides that it should, like you should do in gardening, you farrow a certain area. A tree will deny the flowers, otherwise all the flowers will fall off. Just 1 year out of say 7 or 8. But apple trees do that. Even commercially, that happens. They'll have a failure of the apple crop. It's not a failure of the tree, the plant, or the conditions. The plant just does not let the flower set. Oh, I love applewood. Now we have a timber called sandalwood, and you all know what sandalwood is. But I used to go and cut firewood, and even just by cutting down the old dead tree, I only cut dead trees on the ground in a farm that the guy allowed me to do it. But the sandalwood, when you're cutting it with a chainsaw, it's like, wow, that's good. And I used to have people just come pick up the sandalwood and give me a good price for it. But it's worth a fortune. Sandalwood sells for incredible amounts of money per tonne. When you walked in front of the chicken, it went all blurry. Maybe it'll fix it when you go past. It did, look at that. Isn't that amazing?
Oh, it came good. Oh, sorry, did my bum make it go blurry?
Must have.
Did my bum look big in this?
No comment.
Ah, good.
We only have one problem with peaches and nectarines, is that just when they're absolutely perfect, you know, when you've had one the day before and you go, oh, melt in your mouth, absolutely bright, beautiful. 600 parrots are there the next morning, tearing usually only a third of the fruit off, and yeah, no, none. Did we do a video of the time that they came and got all those peaches?
No.
We had about 4 peach trees, and it was that case. We had a couple the day before thinking, wow, we've got to box these up, and the wife worked at a nursing home, and I said, well, send 4 or 5 boxes over to the nursing home. I got up early, but not as early as the parrots.
Oh,
I got out
yeah,
and I'm
no,
thinking,
you didn't
oh,
do that.
jeez, they just ripped into them. So there was, I think, half a dozen fruit of 4 trees that they didn't get to. So we didn't get a box for the nursing home, just a little baggie.
have to Google this. What is it?
Rose of Sharon. When we lived in Mandurah, we had a avocado tree, good 45, 50 foot tall. It was enormous, and just hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of fruit. And the season would last about 6, 7 months. So we always had avocado. But it's not my favourite fruit. I'll eat it, but I'm not, wouldn't go down the shop and buy one. Put it that way. But it's good growing things in your own yard, be it fruit trees, be it vegetables, even if you just grow the simple things. An arborist, yes, a tree man, or woman, of course.
Oh, but it's such a pretty plant. Oh, it comes in purple.
Magnolia is the plant that I like. It's nice. Love that smell of the magnolias when the breeze hits it on a summer's night. Yum.
So you're saying that the Rose of Sharon is invasive, is it?
We've got a wild weed which destroys farming land. It's called Patterson's curse. It's a purple type thistle is the best way to describe it. But imagine that growing amongst your barley or your wheat and your sheep eating it. It kills sheep actually. Patterson's curse. Oh, I love magnolias. There's only so much guacamole you can do with a 50-foot tree though, seriously.
Yeah, BMAC, I don't know about avocado. I haven't decided if I like it or not, because it's, to me, a pretty bland fruit.
Yeah, you got to hit it with chili
Yeah.
or something, smoked paprika, put it in a salad, and then you think, well, I'm just tasting the chili and the smoked paprika and this very bland food. Yeah, they've just got a beautiful smell, the magnolias, Sid, for sure.
Roses is my favourite.
But one of the real bonuses in the garden, even though they can be a bit of a pain sometimes, but they're really good, is if you've got some type of flower that will attract bees. And there's loads of them. There's a whole heap of different flowers, and most of them are self-seeding.
Marigolds.
Well, marigold's the most common
Did you
one.
hear that?
Yeah,
That didn't sound good at all.
don't know.
Sorry, newsflash, we just got disturbed by a very
Sound like a branch
weird
falling.
sound.
It's like there's a cat there.
That's a cat.
Yeah,
Oh, hey,
Yeah.
Puss Puss.
this is what the noise was.
Whereabouts? Oh, there.
Because he tried to jump the big
He's
fence. And hit it.
walking on the fence.
Whoosh whoosh, come here, putty bush bush.
Kitty kitty.
Is he still there?
It's just gone down to the end.
All right. He tried to jump the big fence we put in. That was the noise we heard. He went thump. We unfortunately had to cut a good sized one that's out the front where we're going to do the extensions to the veranda because it's right in the middle. We couldn't save it. It was just, when you've got a plant that's just too big.
What one was that?
The magnolia that was out the front.
Oh, yeah.
It was a variegated magnolia, but we could have spent a day digging out the roots and it still would have died. It was just too big. But marigolds are good in your garden.
I can grow them.
You can't grow them sometimes. It just grow themselves, don't they? They just come from nowhere.
Shh, don't say that. It's something that I can grow that doesn't die. I'm telling awesome, see?
Yep, lilies are beautiful. Actually, what is really nice, and we don't have the country for it, is tulips. And we were very lucky at the time. We were early spring in Germany, and the parks were full of tulips.
What did I do?
Even the missus said to a lady, "I think they're plastic." I said, "No, they're real."
I went right up to them. I just couldn't believe they were real.
And the lady, she went up, and she had a feel too. She said, "No, they're real."
They looked amazing.
Mm.
They looked so good. They looked fake.
Well, you got some big trees, chick. even the fruit, the plant that people eat sometimes, there's two that you would all know. They're actually flowers, but they're in the vegetable section. Cauliflower, broccoli. You're actually eating the flower. Yeah, even the sumac in cooking, never been really keen on it. A lot of people got popular about 10 years ago, but didn't ring my bell, I'm afraid.
Oh, that'd look nice, VMAC, if they, so they come up through the snow sometimes.
It's eradicated now, okay. One thing that I grow really well, but never get to have any of, strawberries. Grandkids, when they know they're in season, just disappear. So where are the grandkids? They're sitting on the ground, and they always half eat a strawberry. Do you know what I mean? Just a nice big red juicy bit from the middle down.
What's a sumac?
Sumac.
What is a sumac?
Well, it's a tree.
Because check this right, what people eat sumac.
Not that sumac, it's a spice
Oh, okay.
I'm talking about. Same name. Strawberries are fantastic. And if I'm lucky, and it's the middle of the week and the grandkids are at school, I get to have some. But generally, it's like a swarm of locusts have gone through the strawberry patch.
Oh, I think that'd be nice, VMAC.
There's some really delicate roses now.
Miniature roses.
Ones that grow about 3 feet high and have, the inch and a half flowers. They're really beautiful. Yep, I love grapevines. I love them.
You love grapes.
Mm.
That's more what you meant to say, yeah.
Bucky likes peonies.
What's a peony?
It's his peony. Let him ride it.
What is a peony?
But I will definitely have a garden starting off after next summer. We'll have other plants in.
I know what we should do for Awesome. We should go to Bunnings and we should do a live stream while we're in Bunnings and go to the plant section and say, we have a friend whose cats are eating her plants.
Yeah, I suppose.
How can we stop it? Or why would the cat be eating the plant?
Well,
is the cat eating the plant?
Peonies. That's right. Peonies.
Peonies.
Yes, but definitely have the little corner vegetable patch called Awesome Hookers Vegetable Patch.
Yes, stop resisting. Love you, Awesome.
Hmm?
Stop resisting, Awesome. Say it. I love you.
I like you. Get pushy. I got a friend who had a property, and it was the Italians that came out before the turn of the 19th century. And they worked on water and they bought land. Otherwise, they were doing work for the Water Resource Department, the government. Weirs, dams, all that sort of thing. They brought vines with them. There was no quarantine problems back in that time. And they were something like 5 or 10 year old vines that they brought. So they're 140, 150 year old vines now. And they are unbelievable. They make their wine. Even to this day, that family still makes their own wine.
Okay, so have I established what a peony is?
And their own olive oil. Olive oil is very easy to make. When I had 3.5 acre property, I had a whole grove down the side of olives. And the Italian guy showed me how to make the olive oil. He had a little infuser, like a centrifuge crusher. It's not olive oil like you buy from the supermarket, but it's extra virgin. Nothing like an extra virgin. Listen to that sound. Tonight's meditation is brought to you by Rain on a Tin Roof. I have a feeling that wind's going to pick up again shortly. Second front.
Maybe, maybe not.
Oh, you would have had a good childhood then, chick, because nothing like running amok on big acreage. There would have been horses, different animals, fresh milk, homemade cheese, homemade bread, I imagine.
And the state did.
Eminent domain,
Eminent domain.
which is the government takeover of land.
Oh.
Bastards. There's something, look, I mean, I'm sure if we all lived on a farm 100 years ago, we wouldn't have the variety of foods we have now, but we would certainly live well.
Actually, I just had chicken for in her time. And that
I've raised pigs, chicken, sheep, and I've killed them and ate them.
Yeah, we've got a niece that will only eat meat if she has raised it and kills it herself. Otherwise, she's a vegetarian. Well, that's
It's sort
weird
of, it doesn't
saying
make any
that, but
sense, yeah.
yeah, but that's what she does. She won't go and buy meat from the shop or anything. She raises it and she kills it, then she'll eat it.
I lived in a town for about 30 years. If you Google it, it's called Geraldton. Geraldton, Geraldton. It's the lobster capital of the world. Fishing is amazing. Lobsters are like cockroaches, they're everywhere. So never went short of seafood.
Yeah, VMAX seeds grew up by the water. He's a water baby. That's horrible. 10 acres is all you were left.
Yeah, it's theft, chick, basically. Yeah, I know what it was. Part of drain field for a septic. You've got very waterlogged land there by the look of it, keeping. Rujex is hunting rabbits. Evening, Elmer.
Everybody gets a kissy face off
I want to see
Facebook.
Elvis installing weeping tile. That sounds like work. It's not going to happen, Bucky. Rujex says, hello back from me.
Yeah, I just said I give a kiss face to everyone.
Oh,
I say I love you to everyone and I give them a kiss face. You do nothing. You don't show these people your feelings or how you love them.
I don't love them. I make no bones about it.
I'm just kidding.
Unless the ears are flapping backwards and forwards, I don't love them.
What do you mean by that? You mean puppy dog?
Sort of. Yep, sure is. On
Ah.
the beaches of Normandy.
Well, no, it's not for us.
Is
Oh,
it not?
yes, it is. Yes,
Six,
it's six.
yeah.
Yeah.
Certainly is.
Yep.
Yep, 75 years ago.
Yeah, that's why we're out here too, keeping it. We haven't had rain in 6 months, so this is like, seeds almost got out there naked.
Love it. Good morning, Ella. Rain is not a commodity we get a lot of. See, I have certain views. I think all wars are futile, but unfortunately there have been wars of necessity. In other words, you have no alternative.
Ella says, did I hear naked?
Just making up rumours now. There are many wars that have been fought just simply for greed or religion. And there are many wars, civil wars, in many different countries fought for power.
Yeah, go and do it, VMAC. VMAC went for a walk in the rain and came back angry.
Yeah, I don't believe in that. I mean, in my time, when I was a boy, the most horrendous war was the Vietnam War. And that is a war of futility. It was never going to be won. It was unwinnable. I don't know about you, but I looked in on his channel the other day. He's got a head like a fucking watermelon. That's the only thing I could put in. He is getting so fucking big.
You wait till there's a Snapchat with a watermelon head, which they have
It's just
brought out.
enormous. I have no idea how he cannot, he doesn't live in reality, but how he cannot see. No, you didn't go to Vietnam. Some of your infantrymen actually worked on supply ships, VMAC, but they did not go to war. A lot of people say, no, Canada went to Vietnam. No, they didn't fight in Vietnam. There were volunteers from Canada that worked on Australian docks, sending over goodies to our soldiers. I don't think you need a harpoon,
Make sure you videotape that, VMAC.
maybe just a short stick.
Okay, see.
Good on you. Let me have a guess. Porridge?
Oh, yum, porridge.
Oh, just getting warm there. It might be eggs.
I have to go to VMAX for that. She makes porridge.
If my memory serves me correct, there were there 5 US presidents during Vietnam or 4? Someone refresh my memory. Did Nixon survive to the end of Vietnam? I don't think he did. Could be wrong. If he did, it was touch and go. But there was at least 4 presidents.
No, it's a train, chick. We've got a train station, I don't know how far away.
3 or 4 kilometres.
3 kilometres away.
The clouds making it sound closer.
The ghost train, yep.
Yeah, it wasn't really a resignation though, chick, was it? Oh, I gotta go.
Oh, I don't do soft-boiled eggs, so when you've
I
got
love
porridge,
soft-boiled. I like poached eggs.
when you've got porridge, then I'll come over. I don't like the runny bits in an egg.
That's it, soldier
Soldier
eggs.
eggs,
Dunkin'
yeah.
dip. My kids used to love that. Soldiers. Egg and soldiers.
My kids never got it because I didn't like soft-boiled eggs, so I never made them.
Yeah, that's what I was asking, Roo. I'm pretty sure he was either there just at the end. So I'm pretty sure there were 4 US presidents during the Vietnam War. It's easy though. VMAC, one of the easy way to make poached eggs is to have low heat. Now it's warm, but it's not anywhere near medium or medium high. But spray a little non-stick pan with a bit of olive oil, the spray olive oil you get, and boil the kettle and put boiling water in there, and then place your eggs in there. And yes, it takes about 7 minutes doing it on low, but they're all jiggly wiggly and yummy when they're done. No, it wasn't Ford. Ford was later. Lyndon Johnson, Nixon. There was 4. I mean, I can't remember, but there were 4. There was I remember in about '68 at the Democratic Convention in Chicago. Do you remember this event? People old as me. Man, the whole world was going mad anti-Vietnam War, but in Chicago at the Democratic Convention, it was even in the convention, different groups of the Democrats wanted blood. Everyone did not want the damn war.
We have cereal at night time. We don't really eat cereal at breakfast. What a conversation between war and food.
Let's make a breakfast war cereal.
I usually could go and bowl of cereal at night.
Pretty sure Ford was later. Ford was, it might have been after next. Ford was nothing to do with the Vietnam War.
We get Cheerios. I have to get a box to try the damn things because I hear a lot of Americans eat Cheerios, so we have to get a box to try them.
I've tried them. I don't like them. They're very bland.
When did you try them?
I've tried them over the years. They're just bland.
I'll have to try them.
That's why Tucker's been allowed to have them, I think.
Can't we?
Hello, Shauna.
Haven't we seen different flavours?
I don't know. We get the ones that are sort of brown and light brown. Cheerios. Most uncheery cereal. I don't mind. I don't know what you call it in the US, but we get what we call Wheat Bix. I don't mind them. Wheat Bix. They're just flakes of wheat in little parcels, little pillows.
Okay. Well, I'll have to get a box of the plain ones. I haven't tried them. Cheerios.
Yeah. I was trying to work out, since I was born in the late 50s, where the US was not at war. And I'm struggling to find a year that they weren't at war with somebody. Maybe somebody with more American historical fact can tell me, but they've always been at damn war.
So Bucky loves cooking breakfast but doesn't really like eating it. Oh yes, blueberries. Love blueberries. I could do that, VMAC. Quite easy.
I like the actual alpine strawberries. Have you seen those? They're tiny. Man, they're sweet though. You don't get a lot of them. They're real sweet. You'll never see them in the shops. They'd be like $100 a pound.
Alright, see you, Roo.
See you, Roo. Yes, VMAC? The industrial complex requires war to make money.
Kennedy in 1963 died, then Johnson...
Yeah, but Ford was not a president
Nixon.
during the Vietnam War.
Yes, the wild strawberries. Yeah, wild strawberries, VMAC.
Yeah, they're little tiny, and they grow up in the alpine mountains in Australia. Yeah, we have snows and mountains and snow. But even halfway up the hills, you'll get these alpine strawberries. And they're about the size of a blueberry is the best way to describe them.
Oh, they're so yum.
And they are so sweet for what they are. No, you won't get them in the Blue Mountains. They're not. Blue Mountains are only about 1,000 metres, about 3,500 feet high in Australia. They do get snow there though. It snowed there last week, I think. And that's a place, if you come to Australia, definitely go and look at the Blue Mountains. They're beautiful.
The wind's picking up.
Yeah, oh, we got heaps of mountains, but the Blue Mountains are the most famous for sure. I love wild berries, I really do. I mean, as a kid I used to just pig out on ripe blackberries.
So
Loved them.
Chick
And of course the next couple of days later you're on the dunny for a little while. Yeah, you can probably see by the little thing next to the chicken said it was going to happen. The wind's picking up. I don't know if you can see out there. Getting a bit of a squall now. Maybe they can see that tree better. No, can't see a damn thing. Am I? Okay.
Yeah, it's just making everyone busy.
Yeah, so this Antarctic front has like layers of fronts in it. We had a heap of wind earlier, then it died down. That's why we came out. I think the second part of the front's coming in now.
Just watch it doesn't blow your phone over.
Some of you are old enough to remember, in particular, one famous broadcaster who did a lot of the Vietnam War. In fact, went to Vietnam. Walter Cronkite. Remember that? I think it was CBS. I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. But Walter Cronkite was a very easy man to explain what was just happening. He didn't sugarcoat what was happening in Vietnam.
Chick is going to go and check. She's got to go look and see when Ford was president. She thinks it was 1975.
Yeah, I just remember Ford was not because I'm pretty sure it was 74, or late 74 that everyone saw those terrible pictures of
My phone's going to die.
Ho Chi Minh driving his tanks through to the palace. We've been there. We've actually been to that area. Been in Vietnam.
Chick will get the info. I just got to get my charger.
But the problem with Vietnam is that they're all Vietnamese. Just because someone was Viet Cong or North Vietnamese, regular army, the South Vietnamese look the same. In fact, they all had relations north and south. So it turned out a bit like when the French were there in the 50s, a total buck-up, where you're fighting the people. They don't want imperialism in any form. And I'm sure if it was in my country, we'd be fighting them as well. So many people, good Americans, died for no reason. And tenfold time of Vietnamese died for no reason. Terrible. Just going to stick my phone. Oops, I don't know what I've done. Back in my holder because that wind's getting too strong. Do apologise for the break in transmission. You still get chicken, but a different angle. Yeah, I always think of things like that, VMAC. Put myself in the situation. A terrorist, we have a definition of a terrorist today, but when I was a kid growing up in the UK, the IRA were terrorists, but they were fighting for freedom. So you did right, one man's terrorist is another man's freedom fighter. It's perspective. Certainly blowing. That like that. I'm going to have to move you. Because even my little fruit trees here are getting blown. We're getting a bit of wind. Oh, bad hair day. Yeah, I don't, like I say, I can't think of a war that other through necessity. If someone came in my backyard and attacked me, I'm going to kill you. Not a problem. Or my country. I'll fight you. So you put yourself in other people's shoes, and even look, I mean, I think from about 1966 till near the end, everyone was trying. You remember the Paris Accords about the Vietnam War? These leaders from North Vietnam would go there, and the negotiators, and blah 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 blah. They simply said, "We don't want you in our country."
Could the wind blow this?
No, I was about to. That's what I was saying. It's getting a bit too windy.
My phone's getting wet.
But I think We've got other people firing up hangouts shortly.
Just waiting for, oh, here we go, here's Chick. Waiting for you to get back, Chick, because we're getting blown away here.
Right, Chick saying that Ford took over at the end of the war. Okay, stand corrected. I just don't think he had anything to do with the war. I think it was in its death throes anyway.
So we're reporting to you live in this weather.
This is Walter Cronkite reporting from Australia, where it never rains.
Where it's
But
getting,
here, it's raining.
the wind is getting stronger. We might have to put a super chat up to get money to buy coffee for storage.
She's
For
got 2 big tins of
emergency.
coffee. She doesn't need any money for coffee.
I was kidding.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't the case of Gerald Ford, you know, was elected at the time. He just took over the job. Remember Nixon getting on board the plane, banging his head? Love yous all. One of the things that was created during that period, probably from about 65 to 75, 10 years, that decade, it was some of the most meaningful music that was ever written and played. And if you listen to a lot of those songs from that era, some were protest songs, songs were sung in futility, but they're all songs that you would know if they were played today, which they still do on a channel that I click into, 96 FM. Old time music for old timers.
I'm going in.
Getting a bit too windy, isn't it?
Yeah. The wind's picking up.
Getting very windy here, which means, well, they say we might get hail. I don't want hail, but you don't get a choice. No, it's not that heavy yet. It'll get a lot worse. There'll be shit blowing all over the yard by morning. But as long as we get a bit of rain, it's the main thing. Now, I don't know if Awesome's there or Awesome's going to open up a room.
No,
or...
Awesome's gone. She's got to have to go and do stuff.
Okay.
But someone else will come on.
I reckon VMAX should fire up a hangout. Put on a svelte red dress
And
with
show her
those
knives.
clear white fangs showing. Good evening.
And show her knives.
Show knives. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's got boxes of knives.
Yep.
Well, I've been dancing for 6 months, Ella.
Yes, Hale and Greenhouse, yeah. Oh yes, show the knees before we go.
You good people, we're going to go. You have a great day. I'm sure someone's going to fire up a hangout. Enjoy your day. And I'm going to enjoy my stew for the next 4 or 5 days. But I love it. So, good people, it's goodbye from me.
And me. I said goodbye.
Look at them.
I'm reading.
Oh, it's not interested in talking to
No,
you.
because I can't, I read.
All right. Be good. Can't